So you're tired of using the Forge Splatter Shot Pro? You want to move on to bigger and better things? Well, buddy, this is the video for you. Let's learn how to use the foil squeezer. But I got some bad news for you. Foil squeezer, not that easy. It's pretty tricky. You gotta unlearn what you know about Splatoon to relearn this weapon. But it's the good news is this is the video. You clicked on the right guide to help you with it. I got you. So let's learn how to use the foil squeezer. The first thing you need to do is just sacrifice your loved ones. Forget them. You don't need them. You're trying to be a foil squeezer pro. But in all seriousness, if you want to use the foil squeezer, something that you should probably do is spend a little bit more time practicing the weapon in the firing range and in turf war before you go out into your ranked games, as foil squeezer has a bit of a learning curve to it, and it gets pretty tricky, especially when you're switching between the modes of actually painting and quick tap. The squeezer has two modes to it. The first is just holding down ZR, and that's essentially your normal, I want to say, paint mode, which is essentially the way you use squeezer like any other gun in Splatoon, which is just tap and hold, and that essentially allows you to just quickly spray out paint and kind of be a little bit of a further range arrow spray, if you want to think about it. And that mode I like to call either the paint mode or the oh my gosh, please save me, oh my gosh, please get them mode. You know, the good old OMG mode. The second mode is essentially the tap mode, which is essentially when you tap ZR on the squeezer, you essentially throw out little shots, and essentially the faster you tap, as long as you're not holding ZR, you actually quickly fire out shots that actually do more damage than if you were to just simply hold ZR. And this firing tap mode has further range and just allows you to get splats even easier. I call this mode essentially the tap fire, or like the quick tap mode, as is a good way of just thinking about it when you're firing the weapon, as just quickly just tapping the ZR really quickly and as fast as you can. That way you're able to get more shots out. Knowing when to actually switch between the two modes is really important, and something I like to keep in mind is that one mode is typically for painting and the other one's typically for slaying. So if you want to pop the Rainmaker, if you want to quickly paint and build your special, or even tap and paint zone, the thing you're going to want to do is just use the OMG mode. The OMG/paint mode is the best way to actually just get ink on the ground, ink for yourself, and build your special properly so that you can later on just pop the bubbles and, you know, help your team out, as bubbles are really important for the squeezer. And on the other hand, when you're in a 1v1 moment and you want to push an opponent or even punish an opponent for moving, kind of just want to fire at them, what you're going to want to do is use the tap mode, as the tap firing mode is actually really good for when you're actually trying to just quickly hit an opponent and quickly get rid of them, as this allows you to essentially get a splat faster than if you were actually holding and spraying with the paint mode. Something that's really important that you're going to want to do with the squeezer is honestly use your range. Now, you do have a firing mode for when your opponents get close to you, but it's not really that reliable on getting splats, and you typically want to just only use that for painting. However, because the squeezer has pretty good range, you want to use that to your advantage. You want to be able to quickly tap away at your opponent and quickly get them. That way you're able to get a quick splat and assist your teammates and not actually be at risk of your opponents actually shooting you. If there's a T10 attack actually trying to get you from far away, just back up and quickly shoot them. Use your range to your advantage, as the squeezer has a really big problem of when opponents are up close on you. And you do have the spray and paint mode, and I will say use that if that is your last resort. But more oftentimes than not, do not chase an opponent and instead just quickly try and tap them. And if you can't get them, then that's okay. Just let them run away. Don't try and chase and then be put in a bad position because you try to get your opponent, and then guess what? Now you're in close quarter versus the 10 attack, and the 10 attack splatted you because you're too close for yourself to actually be able to tap them and get the splat. But you know, you're close enough for them to actually get you. So use your range. Think of when it's the right time to actually push and actually back up. Speaking of pushing, something that's really important for you to do is when you're actually pushing an opponent, use your bubbles. Bubbles are really important and really useful for you to be able to push, as essentially, unless they have a lot of bombs or they're a Hydra or a heavy, they can't really shoot through all your bubbles at once. So being able to quickly push out your bubbles, and I'll tell you how to actually pop the bubbles a little bit later when we talk about the special, but using your bubbles to essentially push into a zone or even pushing the Rainmaker helps you a lot, because that not only gives cover for you and your teammates, but that also forces your opponents to back up because no one wants to just instantly die to a bubble pop. So what they have to do is actually back up and give you space, and that's a really good way of using the squeezer, as oftentimes the weapons that outrange you can shoot you faster and better than if you were to shoot them. So using bubbles gives you a little bit of cover, and that lets you essentially push up till they're in your effective range where you're able to quick tap them and just, you know, finish off the splat. So try it out. If you don't have special, you can also use your bombs to actually push your opponent away, or use your bombs to kind of push as well. It's really effective for actually pushing. To try and throw your bombs, I want to say either behind your opponent, so that forces your opponent to be closer to you. That way they run more into your shots. But if you can't, then throwing a bomb to quickly get them far away from you also helps with you just claiming that space and being able to push up. In the topic of throwing bombs, if you actually need to contest the tower during tower control, what you can actually do is throw a bomb onto tower and then quick tap the other side, as a lot of times the bomb will be on one side, forcing your opponents to move either to another side or they get splattered by the bomb. So what you can actually do is essentially cover one area with the bomb and then quickly fire off the other area, quickly being able to get your opponent, as this forces your opponent to relocate, letting them be exposed to your shots. Now, if you want to know how to actually use your special more effectively, not only can you use it to push up on an opponent that's, you know, that's actually keeping you away with the range, but you can also essentially throw down a bomb onto the floor, blow your bubbles over them, and then quickly let the bubbles go and float. And then from there, your ink tank will be filled again since you pop your special, throw another bomb, and that's a quick insta pop with bubbles that you can actually do with squeezers. Since splat bombs move and getting it to be reliable is a little bit clunky, what you can actually do to make it better is actually look down at the ground, throw a bomb, pop your special, blow a bubble, and essentially the first bubble that you blow, by the time the bomb actually explodes, the first bubble will essentially be a little bit fatter. That way, all you have to do is all you gotta do is actually throw a bomb, and then now the entire bubble pops. And this is really useful because let's say you throw a bomb, now you quickly blow up all three bubbles. The first bubble's still there, no one shot it. So now as the bubbles are floating over zone, you're able to quickly throw a bomb. The first bubble essentially will pop, and then what follows afterwards is essentially all the other bubbles popping as well. And this is really good collateral damage. So that way, if you have to get a group of people quickly throwing out the bubbles and just pop, works really well. Throw out one bubble and then quickly pop it if you need to get someone really close, like someone's right in front of you, and quickly have to get rid of them. That's a really good way of doing it. If you want to have the bubbles linger a little bit and then get them, actually blow out all three and then pop the first one, because that will cause a domino effect of all three bubbles popping simultaneously. So try that out. Again, it's very situational, so know when's the best time for you to quickly just pop the first bubble that you have, because at any point when you blow the bubble, you can quickly throw a bomb and pop it. So it's really useful for you to just quickly be able to throw a bomb, blow the bubble over, and then quickly throw another bomb and just pop the opponent. And that's really useful in modes like Clam Blitz, Rainmaker, and even Splat Zones, where the opponents are actually somewhat clumped, or like maybe you need to push one person and you're just like, all right, boom, here we go, and we're gonna get you. And it's really useful for taking space and just quickly getting a KO. So try it out. When it comes to gear that you should be running on the foil squeezer, this is actually the build and the abilities that I've been running on the foil squeezer. If you guys enjoyed this, try it out for yourselves. Hey, I'm glad. I hope it helps you guys. But if you want more abilities to actually use on the foil squeezer, are using some special charge ups, some special power ups, so that you're able to quickly get your bubbles faster, but also have your bubbles be a bit bigger and stronger. Use some object shredders, so you're able to pop those bubbles better. Use some swim speed, so that way you're able to quickly swim into the bomb once you deploy it a little bit easier if you want it for yourself, but also be able to swim away from your opponent and quickly gain space, as that's really useful. Some sub saver, so that when you throw a bomb, you're not completely out of ink, you're able to still shoot and paint. That way you're just able to stay in the fight and keep your pressure even after you use a bomb. If you want some builds that you're actually looking for, these are some that I found on sendu.ink. Check them out. If you guys want to check out more builds on sendu.ink, there's a link in the description. Go check out and support sendu.ink. Now, the position that you want to have with the foil squeezer is essentially you're going to want to use foil squeezer as a pressure, or as I want to say a midliner. You essentially want to take fights with your teammate, but you also want to offer damage from an off angle, as a lot of times the squeezer can get 2 shots on an opponent but quickly miss out on the 3rd one. So having your teammate quickly be able to chase an opponent and kind of make them back up into your shots works really well. So try to work with your teammates and see what direction they're shooting from, and try to offer a good off angle, a good different direction to actually shoot them from, as this essentially allows you and your teammates to actually pinch the opponents into a tight spot that if they, let's say, walk into your shots, they're now going to get splatted. Or let's say they're trying to avoid your shots, but they walk into your teammate's shot, it's an overall win. But if they back up, congrats, you just made space for your team. Even though you didn't win the fight, you still got map control and you still took that space. So it's really useful to just use Squeezer as an off lane, I want to say like an off angle pressure, and check and try it out. If you guys don't know exactly what I mean by pressure, I made a whole video on how to play splat zones. The link is in the description, but also in the eye icon. Check it out after this video if you want to know a little bit more of how to play splat zones, but also if you're confused on what do I mean by pressure. Basically, what I kind of mean is essentially, as a squeezer, you're going to want to put pressure on your opponent. You want to offer that off angle, fire from a different side. That way it forces your opponent, essentially puts pressure on your opponent, I guess name intended, pun intended, to essentially force them to back up. So yeah, since you're essentially a pressure, you never really want to take a 2v1. You can somewhat take a 2v1 with bubbles, but generally speaking, you're going to want to push up with your teammates and play off your teammates and with your teammates instead of just playing by yourself, as oftentimes if you rush and try to go and get all the splats by yourself, you're not going to be doing much. It's okay to breathe, take your time, assess the situation, and see how you can actually do it. Something that's really useful to do is just for me to, something that I like to actually do is, if I'm laying in the ink and I'm waiting for my opponent to walk, I like to line up my retinal on them. That way, when I quickly pop out of the ink and quickly fire, I'm not spending that time adjusting my motion or adjusting my retinal to quickly be able to fire them. I'm able to quickly get 1 or 2 hits on them before they realize and start swimming away. And then all I got to do is just hit the 3rd shot. But it makes my life easier than just walking up while firing at someone. It's better to have, I want to say, that pre-aim motion, and then from there take my time firing at the opponent. And yeah, here a little tip for when you want to actually use the quick tap a little bit better is don't just tap it at the normal rhythm. Like, don't try to have a good like 1 2 3, like don't count it out. Just spam the ZR button when you can and try to just quickly mash the button as fast as you can. This is really important, as this allows you to have faster shots than if you were to quickly just 1 2 1 2. It doesn't go that fast, but if you're able to quickly mash the button, it just makes it faster. So yeah, but don't break your controller obviously, so be careful with mashing it. But yeah, mashing the ZR button and quickly getting those shots off while in the tap mode is better than just simply trying to get a rhythm with it. So don't be scared to take your time, and when you're ready, just unleash hell on your opponent. And that will pretty much wrap it up for the foil squeezer, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what other weapon you want me to cover in the future down below. But also, if you enjoyed the video and want to ask me more questions about foil squeezer or any other weapons, I stream on Twitch, link in the description down below. And yeah, I hope this video helped you guys out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And without further ado, my name is Gabe. I'm out. Later. Bye.